The Hollow Crown Part 1. I woke before the alarm, with that same invisible nail lodged behind my left canine. The pain wasn't sharp, it pulsed, steady as a metronome. I lay there listening to it count out the seconds until dawn, the faint hum under my cheekbone matching the tick of the bedside clock. It was 3:17. Again. I told myself it was just reflux, or the kebab, or nerves. The mind can invent pain the way it invents guilt. Still, by the time I reached the surgery, the ache had sunk deeper, coiling into bone. The clinic smelled faintly of bleach and damp carpet, the scent of 20 years held together by habit. I switched on the chair light, its bulb flickering before it steadied, and stared at my reflection in the overhead mirror. Jaws clenched, eyes ringed. A man patched together by deadlines and overdrafts. Mara was already in, kettle on, uniform crisp despite the sagging room. She looked up when I entered. "Rough night again?" she asked, reading the tension in my shoulders the way she read the weather. "Same as always," I said. I pressed my tongue against the sore tooth. Smooth. No swelling. I could almost believe it was gone. Between patients, I stole an X-ray of myself. Bone pristine, nerves tidy as textbook lines. Nothing. I laughed under my breath and deleted the image. Hypochondria in latex gloves. By 9, the waiting room hummed. Monday's list was full: Mr. Doyle, the factory foreman with hands like spades, little Aisha with her gap-toothed grin, Mrs. Patel, who brought homemade chutney as payment because the NHS no longer stretched to kindness. I slipped into autopilot, needle, mirror, polish, pretending the ache wasn't growing with each hour. Aisha came last before lunch, tiny legs swinging from the chair. Her mother hovered at the door, anxious but polite. "She's been chewing ice again," she whispered. I nodded. The X-rays showed a cracked baby molar, nothing dramatic. I opened the new packet of composite, BioVita Arctic White. The stuff came cheap, Romanian import, half the price of 3M. The box looked professional enough, silver lettering, microscopic print promising. Organic compatibility. The foil tore at the edges when I opened it. Inside, the resin gleamed like melted pearl. I filled the cavity, smoothed the surface, cured it under the light. Routine. But the smell, sweet, faintly metallic, lingered longer than it should. "You're brave, Aisha," I said, handing her a sticker. "Had one myself last week. Didn't feel a thing." A lie. My jaw was humming like a tuning fork. When they left, I closed the door and rubbed my temples. The hum behind my tooth seemed to answer the drill's whine from the other room, resonating through the walls. For a moment I thought I heard whispering, like air escaping a crack, but it was only the autoclave wheezing in the corner. Lunch was instant coffee and silence. Mara scrolled her phone, frowning at the bills. "Suppliers still haven't invoiced us for the new batch," she said. "BioVita, right?" I nodded. "Good for us, isn't it? Or bad," she muttered. "Cheap things usually are." She was right, of course. But when you're balancing a clinic on a threadbare grant, you take what you can. I thought of Luna, my daughter, somewhere in Thailand. Her messages came rarely now, full of beaches and lowercase apathy. Asterisk, you should sell that place, Dad. Start over. Asterisk, but where would I go? Dentistry was the only language I still spoke. The afternoon blurred. Fillings, checkups, a root canal that refused to behave. By the time we cleaned the instruments, the daylight had drained from Brick Lane. The windows showed only our reflections, two ghosts framed by fluorescent hum. I sat at the desk, rubbing my jaw again. The ache pulsed with my heartbeat. Out of curiosity, I fetched a mouth mirror and angled it under the light. The gum looked normal, pale, firm, but when I pressed the edge of the mirror handle against the molar, a faint metallic taste bloomed, like blood on a battery. Mara noticed. "You okay? Just tired?" She hovered by the door, hesitant. "Elias, maybe see someone? You've been clenching for weeks." "Dentists don't visit dentists. We patch ourselves." "I'll manage," I said too sharply. She nodded and left without another word. I stayed behind after she locked up. The silence was heavier then, filled with the soft whir of old machines cooling down. I opened the cupboard, the old safe from the pawnshop days, and stared at the rows of Biovita tubes. The logo, a silver crown, winked under the fluorescent light. Something about it unsettled me. The symmetry was too perfect, the crown's prongs too sharp. I closed the door and turned the brass dial until the click felt final. At home, the mirror showed a stranger. The bruise beneath my eye had deepened, the skin mottled from nights without sleep. I brushed my teeth carefully, pausing when the bristles touched the left side. Pain shot through my skull like static. For a second, I swore the reflection shimmered, as if the light behind me flickered in rhythm with my pulse. I spat into the sink. The foam was tinged pink. Sleep came in fragments. I dreamed of enamel landscapes, mountains of ivory cracked open like eggs. Something crawled beneath, white and wet, searching for light. I woke at 2:59, heart hammering, jaw locked. 3 a.m. again. The witching hour of dentists. I padded to the bathroom, turned on the mirror light. My eyes were bloodshot, lips pale. When I pressed my finger to the sore spot, it pulsed, alive, answering. The taste of metal flooded my tongue. I leaned closer, watching for movement, for any sign of infection. Nothing. Then, faintly, the hum returned. A deep vibration, felt more than heard. It ran through my skull, into my throat, down the spine. I gripped the sink, trying to steady my breath. "It's just nerves," I whispered. "Just nerves." The hum stopped. I should have been relieved, but the silence that followed felt wrong. Too sudden, like a held breath waiting to burst. I stared at my reflection until the edges blurred. Behind me, the old pipes groaned. A drip started somewhere under the sink, slow and deliberate. I turned off the light and left the room, forcing myself not to look back. Morning came gray and airless. I brewed coffee that tasted like metal, packed the same stale sandwich, and walked through the drizzle toward the clinic. The city felt hollow, shuttered shops, puddles reflecting neon. Every step throbbed through my jaw. Mara met me at the door. "You look worse," she said softly. "Feel worse," I admitted. "But we've got Doyle at 9. She nodded. "He called already?" "Said the tooth's killing him." The ache behind my own tooth pulsed harder, almost in sympathy. The kettle clicked. Steam rose. Somewhere deep in the walls, the pipes trembled. For a moment I thought I heard something faint beneath the hiss, a sound like scratching from inside metal. I ignored it. There was always some new noise in this old building. Always something decaying just out of sight. But as I walked to the surgery and turned on the chair light, I could swear the hum followed me, echoing under the floor, in time with the beat of my heart. The Hollow Crown Part 2. Tuesday. The pain had settled overnight, not gone, only waiting. I could feel it beneath the tooth like a heartbeat under ice. When I bit down on toast that morning, a sharp crack ran through the enamel, but nothing broke. I chewed the other side, pretending not to notice the taste of metal rising from the back of my mouth. The rain outside turned Brick Lane into a ribbon of mirrors. The clinic waited at the end, its windows clouded with condensation, a faint yellow glow behind the glass like a lantern in fog. I unlocked the door and the stale air greeted me, disinfectant, burnt coffee, and that undertone of something sweet I couldn't place. Not rot, exactly. More like sugar going bad. Mara was already there, filing notes. She looked up when I entered. "Doyle called. Said he couldn't sleep. Wants you to look at the filling again." I forced a smile. "Of course he does." Mr. Doyle arrived early, jaw clenched, face gray beneath the fluorescent lights. He was a big man, shoulders like a wall, but today he moved like a puppet half unstrung. When he spoke, his voice trembled. "It's crawling, Doc," he said, pointing to his cheek. "Like something's burrowing in there. You did this one 2 weeks ago." I nodded and gestured for him to sit. The ache in my own jaw flared in sympathy. "Let's have a look." When I lifted the mirror, I saw nothing unusual at first. The filling gleamed white, perfectly sealed. I tapped gently with the explorer. Doyle flinched. Pain? He nodded, gripping the armrest. Feels like it's hollow inside. Like air moving. I ordered an X-ray. The screen lit with grayscale. The image made my stomach tighten. The root canal, once solid, was now riddled with holes, tiny, round tunnels bored clean through dentin like the comb of a honey hive. Perfectly smooth, perfectly symmetrical. No sign of decay, no instrument marks. Just emptiness. That can't be right, I whispered. Mara leaned closer, frowning. Machine error? I shook my head. Machine's fine. We reopened the filling. The composite came away too easily, flaking like burnt sugar. Beneath, the tissue was pale and soft, almost sponge-like. When I touched it with the probe, it gave slightly, as if breathing. A faint hiss escaped the cavity, air, or something like it. Doyle tensed. Jesus, what is that? Just gas release, I lied. My hands were shaking. I cleaned the area, packed it again with new composite, 3M this time, and sent him home with antibiotics he didn't need. After he left, Mara and I stood in silence. The hum of the lights filled the room. Elias, she said finally, this isn't normal. I know. I removed my gloves and stared at my hands. They were trembling. Check the rest of the BioVita stock. I want to see if the packaging's been tampered with. We spread the boxes across the counter. Dozens of small foil tubes, identical, sterile. But under the glare, the printing shimmered faintly, an iridescence that moved when you tilted it, like oil on water. Mara ran her finger along one of the edges. Feels warm. I touched it too. She was right. The foil wasn't just thin, it radiated faint heat like skin. We said nothing. The autoclave clicked, the kettle hissed, and the clinic's walls seemed to tighten around us. By noon, the waiting room had emptied. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. BioVita Solutions SRL. Their website loaded after a delay. White background, blue serif logo, a stock photo of smiling teeth. No contact address, no phone. I clicked. About. The page returned an error. Mara appeared at the doorway. You should eat something. Later. My eyes scanned the invoice again. The return address, Cluj-Napoca, Romania. A postmark, no contact name. Imported through an intermediary in Leeds who'd since vanished from the supplier registry. Every link was dead. I rubbed my jaw again. The ache had deepened into something denser, more insistent. I imagined tunnels inside my molar, like Doyle's X-ray, clean and circular. I imagined something moving through them. The phone buzzed. I jumped. It was a message from Luna. Hey Dad. Use the kit you sent. Mirror plus torch plus pure stubbornness. Holding okay, but jaws started singing at night. Normal? Singing. My stomach dropped. I typed a reply, erased it, typed again. Stop using it. Find a dentist there. Send photo. Now. I waited. 6 minutes later, another message came. Not normal. Tooth feels loose. Like something's chewing back. Local dentists scare me. Help? I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My reflection in the monitor showed a stranger, pale and sunken-eyed. I closed the laptop slowly. Mara touched my arm. Something wrong? Just Luna. I tried to smile. Bad filling. The irony wasn't lost on me. The rest of the afternoon passed in fragments. Every drill sound grated through my skull. Every suction tube echoed like breath through bone. When the last patient left, I closed the surgery early. Mara didn't argue. We sat in the break room, lights dimmed. Rain beat against the windows. The ache behind my tooth pulsed in rhythm with the drops. Remember when this place used to be busy? Mara said softly. When people still smiled after an appointment? People don't smile anymore, I murmured. They endure. She looked at me, something unreadable in her expression. You're not well, Elias. I'm fine. You're not. You've been touching your jaw all day. I almost laughed. Occupational hazard. When she left, I stayed again. Couldn't make myself go home. The clinic was quiet now, the sort of silence that hums. I walked to the surgery, turned on the overhead light. The chair sat empty, its leather seat gleaming like skin. I pulled a new packet of Biovita from the safe. The foil reflected the light, that same oily shimmer. I turned it over in my hand. Asterisk made in Romania. Batch number 24A3. EXP, October 27th. Asterisk. I slid it open with a scalpel. Inside, the resin glistened faintly. I dipped the tip of a probe into it. Warm again, body temperature. Impossible. The stuff should be cold. I lifted the probe closer. The resin clung to the metal, stretching in a fine thread before snapping. When I set it down, I could swear it shifted, just slightly, like something settling. I blinked. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe paranoia. I packed the sample into a sterile cup and labeled it for testing. Then I caught sight of the X-ray monitor still glowing in the dark. Doyle's tooth, riddled with holes. The image pulsed faintly with the reflection of the overhead light, giving the illusion of movement, like the tunnels were writhing. I shut it off. At home, I tried to eat soup. Couldn't. Every swallow echoed against my molar. I brushed carefully, avoiding the left side, but my tongue found a soft spot near the gum line. Smooth at first, then slightly yielding. I pressed harder. Pain flared. I tasted iron. When I pulled back, the toothbrush bristles were streaked pink. I rinsed, stared at the sink. Something white floated among the foam, tiny, thin as thread. I leaned closer, but the drain swallowed it before I could be sure. Sleep came in fits. I dreamed of Luna sitting in a dark room, holding a mirror to her mouth. Something moved behind her cheek, distorting the reflection. When she smiled, her teeth shimmered with that same iridescent film. I woke gasping. My pillow was damp with sweat, or maybe drool. The taste of metal lingered on my tongue. I needed answers. The next morning, I called the number on the invoice again. Dead tone. I tried the intermediary's email. Bounced. The world had a way of erasing itself when you needed proof. Mara arrived late, hair wet from the rain. Mrs. Patel called, she said. Says her crown feels strange. Like bubbles underneath. I hesitated. Bring her in. When Mrs. Patel arrived, she smiled shyly, clutching her handbag. Feels silly, doctor. Probably just nerves. Let's take a look. Under the light, her crown looked fine, smooth, pearly. But when I touched it with the mirror, she winced. Feels alive, she whispered. Like it's breathing. The drill whined. The composite lifted in pale curls, thin as onion skin. Beneath it, something pulsed. A wet gleam caught the light. I leaned closer. It wasn't pulp. It wasn't tissue. It was movement. Mara inhaled sharply. I switched off the drill and reached for the tweezers. The thing squirmed, a larva, ivory white, the length of my thumb joint. Its surface glistened, translucent enough to see the dark line of something coiled inside. It flexed once, twice, then curled into a spiral. Mrs. Patel moaned softly. I dropped the instrument tray, grabbed a specimen jar, and trapped the thing inside. It thudded once against the plastic, then again, faster, as if impatient. Mara stared. What the hell is that? Not possible, I murmured. No way. But there it was, alive and moving. It tapped the jar again, rhythmically. Tick. 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 I sealed the lid, hands trembling. My tooth throbbed in perfect time with the sound. We sterilized everything twice. Burned the disposable gear. I sent Mrs. Patel home with antiseptic mouthwash and instructions not to worry. She thanked me. She even smiled. The perfect patient. When she was gone, I sat at the desk staring at the jar. The creature had stopped moving. Its skin seemed to dry, hardened slightly, like resin setting. I turned off the lights and locked it in the safe beside the remaining Biovita tubes. Iron and secrets. By evening, the ache in my jaw had become unbearable. I took painkillers until my stomach turned. The hum beneath my tooth was constant now, like the low drone of a hive. I lay on the couch in my office, one hand pressed to my face, and thought about Doyle, Patel, Aisha, and Luna, somewhere thousands of miles away, maybe feeling the same thing moving inside her. I tried to sleep but couldn't. Every creak of the clinic sounded like movement from the safe. Every breath echoed the tapping I thought I'd silenced. When dawn crept through the blinds, I realized I hadn't slept at all. And I knew, without question, that something was alive beneath the crown. The Hollow Crown Part 3, The Daughter's Voice. I dream in static. The sound of suction hoses, the whine of drills, the hush of breath through gauze. Somewhere in the noise, a voice hums along the same pitch as the pain behind my teeth. I wake with the taste of copper and disinfectant on my tongue. It's still dark. My jaw is swollen, the left side hot to the touch. Mara opens the clinic before sunrise. She looks at me the way nurses look at dying men. They already know the shape of the ending. The autoclave shudders behind her like a dying animal. She says nothing, just pours boiling water into a mug and slides it across the counter. I can't drink. My lips barely meet. Any word from Luna? She asks. I nod. I haven't shown her the messages. Dad, it's inside. I can feel it moving under the gum. Please tell me what to do. The timestamp is yesterday, Bangkok time. If she caught her flight, she'll land in London tonight. I tell Mara. She's fine. Just a cold. Mara's silence weighs more than disbelief. She doesn't argue. She just switches on the overhead lights, harsh, clinical, stripping every shadow off the walls. I wish she hadn't. Everything looks too exposed. By 9, we have 3 cancellations. Word must have spread. Only Doyle turns up, jaw bound in a scarf like a wounded soldier. He doesn't sit, he paces. It's still there, he says. It hums. I hear it in my ear when I try to sleep. I lead him to the chair. My hands shake as I tilt the light. The gum around his molar pulses faintly, a slow rhythm not his own. I inject anesthetic, though I know it won't help. When I cut into the crown, a thin hiss escapes, like air from a lung. The cavity beneath is hollow, webbed with filaments. Inside the hollow, movement. Doyle jerks, gagging. I see a pale thread uncoil from the gum and slip down his throat before I can grab it. He claws at his mouth, choking. Mara rushes in, slaps the suction on full, but it's too late. The monitors spike, then flatten. The silence afterward feels obscene. Mara covers him with the sheet. We call it in? I stare at the dead man's jaw, the faint twitch beneath the skin. Not yet. We move the body to the storage room. The smell of sterilizer can't mask the sweet rot. Mara scrubs until her knuckles bleed. I lock the door and tell her to go home. She refuses. You need sleep, she says. So do you. I'm not the one cracking my teeth. She's right. In the mirror above the sink, I see the bruise spreading along my cheek, the faint tremor of my jawline. I rinse with peroxide until my throat burns. For a moment, I think I see something glint at the back of my mouth, a shimmer like mother of pearl. By afternoon, the clinic feels like a mausoleum. Every sound, footsteps upstairs, the hum of the heater, echoes wrong. I find myself talking aloud, just to prove I still exist. The safe in the back room ticks softly, metal cooling and expanding. Sometimes, I think it's breathing. Another message arrives. Landed Heathrow. Feels worse. Gums bleeding. Waiting baggage. See you soon. I try to reply, but my fingers don't obey. I manage only, come straight to clinic. Don't go home. Mara brings tea I can't drink. She watches me scroll through photos. Luna as a child in braces, mouth too wide for her face, laughing at something I can't remember. She looks like you, Mara says. No, I whisper. She's better. At 5 p.m., the doorbell rings. A sound so ordinary it feels alien. Mara looks at me. I nod. She opens the door. Luna stands there, soaked from rain, hood half fallen, eyes glassy. Her left cheek bulges slightly, as if she's storing food in her mouth. "Hi, Dad." Her voice cracks on the second word. She smells of airport and fear. I step forward, try to hug her, but she flinches when my arm brushes her face. "Let me see," I say. "Not here." But she's already trembling. A line of red seeps from the corner of her lips. Mara guides her inside, locks the door. The city beyond feels 1,000 miles away. I lead Luna to the chair. She sits obediently, like a child again. I angle the lamp. The gum above her molar is swollen, translucent. Beneath it, something shifts. I can see its outline, coiled, patient. "Open," I say softly. She obeys. The moment the mirror touches her tongue, she winces. A filament wriggles free, white and glistening. Mara gasps. I grab the explorer, press the gum flat. The shape recoils deeper. Luna sobs. "It's okay," I lie. "Just local anesthetic." But I don't inject anything. I'm too afraid of driving it deeper. I try to scrape the surface instead. The explorer snags on something hard, a ring, circular, like enamel but too smooth. As I lift, the gum tears. The thing beneath moves on its own. Luna screams. Blood floods her mouth. The filament lashes around the mirror handle, wet and strong. I jerk back, drop the instrument. It lands with a metallic clang. Mara grabs gauze, tries to stem the bleeding, but Luna convulses, hands gripping the chair. "Dad, it's..." she chokes. "It's trying to." Then her jaw locks. The bulge beneath her cheek pulses once, twice. Something bursts through the gum with a spray of blood, a larva, larger than before, glistening, crowned with ridges of translucent teeth. It twists, half out, half in. The scream dies in her throat. Mara moves faster than thought. She jams the suction under Luna's tongue, trying to pull the creature free. The tube rattles, blood spirals down in crimson threads. I seize the forceps, clamp the visible segment. The thing resists, writhes with obscene strength. I pull harder. The sound it makes is wet and intimate, like tearing cloth. Then it comes free, limp for a moment, before coiling again in the tray. Luna collapses forward, gasping. The larva twitches, then stills. For a second, there's only breathing, the three of us alive. Then Luna opens her eyes, glassy with tears, and whispers, "More." Her tongue flicks against her teeth. Under the skin of her throat, small lumps ripple in sequence, moving downward. She gags, but nothing comes up. Mara looks at me in horror. I can't think. I can only watch the slow migration beneath her skin. We sedate her. Midazolam. Too much, maybe? She slumps into shallow breaths. Mara checks her pulse. "She's alive," she says, voice shaking. I stare at the tray. The creature is curling tighter, drying to a chalky white. Its mouth opens and closes, soundless. On its side, faint letters are embossed, BV24. Biovita's mark. I hear myself laugh, quietly, broken. "It's branded," I say. Mara doesn't answer. She's cleaning Luna's mouth, wiping blood and gauze. I stagger to the sink, spit red water. When I look up, the mirror wavers. Behind my reflection, the safe glints under the fluorescent light. The ticking has grown louder. "She needs a hospital," Mara says. "No hospital will believe this. She'll die here. She'll die there too." Silence. Rain against the windows, steady and cold. I walk to the safe, trace the brass dial with numb fingers. I can feel vibration through the metal, a faint pulse. I imagine the last sleeve inside, larvae dreaming in sterile foil. My jaw throbs. I touch it. The skin feels wrong, soft, shifting under pressure. I think of Luna's throat, the moving shapes. Maybe it was never infection. Maybe it's inheritance. Mara says something I don't catch. The room is spinning now. I turn, smile through the pain. "Keep her alive," I tell her. I'll finish this. Before she can stop me, I kneel before the safe and spin the dial. The sound is rhythmic, hypnotic. Inside, something answers, 3 faint knocks, like fingers on glass. Then the lock clicks open. The hollow crown part 4, the safe opens. The sound it makes isn't mechanical. It's too alive. The safe door swings open an inch, breathing out air that's warm, damp, and faintly metallic, the scent of old blood and antiseptic. Mara whispers my name, but I barely hear her. Inside, in neat surgical rows, lie 6 metal sleeves, each labeled BV-24 in fading blueprint. The foil is fogged from within, small pockets of condensation running like veins. One sleeve trembles. I know what's inside. I knew before I ever unlocked it. Biovita called them adaptive dental symbionts. They were meant to replace root tissue, regenerate enamel, rebuild nerves. The prototype trials failed. We buried the data, signed the silence contracts, and moved on. But they didn't die. I reach in. My hand shakes. The foil pulses once, as though responding to my touch. Something sharp inside presses against the metal, tracing my fingers through it. Don't, Mara says. Her voice is tight, low, as if afraid of waking the thing. She's changing. I tell her. It's in her blood. I have to know how to stop it. She needs help, not another experiment. This is help. The sleeve tears open easily. A thin vapor spills out, curling through the light like smoke. At the center lies a larva, larger, darker, veins visible through translucent flesh. Its tiny mouth opens, closes, opens again. It's trying to breathe. Mara backs away. Put it down! But I can't. My fingers won't obey. The thing pulses in my palm, syncing with my heartbeat. A low hum fills my skull, like dental equipment, like memory. I see flashes, lab lights, white coats, Luna as a child watching through the observation glass. My voice saying, "It works. She'll never feel pain again." Then the hum resolves into words, soft, almost tender. Complete the crown. My jaw aches. My teeth grind against each other, a mechanical vibration rising through bone. The safe begins to tick again. No, not tick, chirp. A call. The other sleeves shiver in unison, silver skin rippling. Mara grabs my wrist. Drop it! The larva responds before I can. It lashes upward, sliding across my arm, impossibly fast, and burrows beneath the skin at the elbow. A flash of white pain blinds me. I fall, clawing at the swelling track racing up toward my shoulder. Mara screams. The sound is distant, underwater. I hear metal hitting tile, the suction machine roaring to life. Then darkness floods the edges of my vision. When I wake, the clinic is silent again. My arm is bound from wrist to shoulder in surgical tape, soaked through with iodine. My shirt clings to me, sticky with dried blood. Mara sits across the room, eyes hollow, hands trembling around a scalpel she hasn't noticed she's still holding. She's gone, she says. I know who she means. Luna. The chair is empty, straps broken, gauze scattered like feathers. Blood trails toward the door, small wet footprints fading into the hall. She woke up, Mara whispers. Her mouth, God, her mouth. I stand too quickly. My vision swims, but I force my body forward. The mirror above the sink catches me. I almost don't recognize what I see. My jawline has changed, heavier, bone pressing against skin like new roots beneath soil. Where? I ask. She said she needed air. I couldn't, she was faster. Outside, the rain has stopped, leaving the streets slick and mirror bright. The air smells of ozone and rust. I follow the trail past shuttered shops, puddles reflecting the clinic's neon sign, Hollow Crown Dental. The irony cuts deep. Half a block down, I find her. Luna stands barefoot in the middle of the road, head tilted back, mouth slightly open. Streetlights shimmer across her skin. Something glows faintly beneath her cheek, the same pale bioluminescence that pulsed inside Doyle, inside me. Luna! I call. She turns slowly. The smile she gives me is too calm. It doesn't hurt anymore, she says. Her voice sounds layered, two tones at once, one human, one mechanical. I take a step forward. We can still fix this. She shakes her head. You already did. It's what you made me for. And before I can answer, she opens her mouth wider. Her gums split soundlessly. From the wound rises something luminous and skeletal, a crown of bone and glass, unfurling like a flower. It hovers above her lips, turning gently in the rain light, humming the same frequency that lives inside my teeth. Mara runs from behind me, screaming her name. The moment she touches Luna's shoulder, the humming spikes to a scream. Light erupts, white, searing. I cover my face. When I look again, both are on the ground. Mara's breathing. Barely. Her left hand is fused to her own face, bone melted through skin. Luna lies still, eyes open, mouth empty. The crown is gone. I stagger forward, fall to my knees beside her. Her body is warm, but cooling. My jaw aches so violently I can barely speak. When I touch her cheek, something clicks beneath the skin, a hard, circular shape, fitting perfectly under my thumb. I press down. There's a faint hiss, then stillness. Rain starts again, soft and relentless. Behind me, the clinic sign flickers once, twice, then steadies, only half the letters lit now. HOWCOWN. I start to laugh. It sounds like drilling. Then the hum returns, from inside my head, not outside. Not a voice this time. A rhythm. A countdown. The Hollow Crown Part 5, Inheritance. The storm never stopped, it just moved inside. Every wall in the clinic hums now, low and steady, like a mouthful of bees. The instruments rattle against their trays. The safe door pulses once every few seconds, matching my heartbeat. Mara hasn't woken since the blast. I've dressed her wounds as best I can, bandaged what used to be her left eye, stitched the skin over her jawline where bone had begun to bloom through. The infection isn't bacterial. It's something older. Something designed. Luna's body lies in the surgery room, covered with a white sheet. I can't bring myself to move her to the morgue. She was always afraid of the dark. I sit beside her chair, notebook open, voice recorder blinking red. The notes are for no one. Maybe for the police. Maybe for whatever's inside me now. Day 8, post-infection. Neuroresonance continues. Jaw pressure constant. Subject H1 deceased, Luna Harrow. Subject M2 unconscious. Root origin, synthetic parasitic nerve fiber. Self-replicating. Possibly communicative. Communicative. That's the word I keep coming back to. Because at night, when the humming deepens, I hear words form inside the noise. Not random static. Not madness. Words. Finish the sequence. Open the mouth of the world. At first, I ignored it. But now the safe door moves even when I don't touch it. The dial turns itself, as if waiting for the correct combination, one I've already entered once in a dream. I should burn it. But what if the cure's inside? I switch on the overhead lamp. Shadows leap back like frightened animals. The air tastes of rust and ozone. I pull back Luna's sheet. Her skin is pale but intact. No sign of decay. Her lips slightly parted, as though caught mid-breath. Inside her mouth, the gums shimmer faintly, the same faint bioluminescent pattern I've seen beneath my own. I touch her jaw. It's warm. The hum spikes. From behind me, a crash, metal instruments scattering to the floor. I spin around. Mara's awake, standing, half blind, bloodied. Her voice is hoarse. She's not dead. I shake my head. I checked. Not her. She interrupts, pointing at me. You. You're not you anymore. I almost laugh, but something deep inside my chest moves when I do, a shifting, crawling pressure under the sternum. Mara, listen to me. She holds up a syringe, trembling. I sterilized it. Ketamine. Just enough to keep you still. Mara. Don't. She steps closer. You said it yourself? It's inside your blood. If she comes back, it's through you. She lunges. Reflex takes over. I grab her wrist, twist. The syringe clatters to the tile. We both fall. The chair tips, crashes into the tray. Instruments scatter like shrapnel. When I look down, there's a mirror shard stuck in my palm. Blood pools, bright and clean. But beneath the red, the wound pulses with faint white light, like a heartbeat seen through glass. Mara sees it too. She whispers, "God forgive me." Then the lights go out. Darkness. Humming. Breathing that isn't mine. Something moves under the sheet. Slow. Deliberate. I crawl toward the switch, fingers slick with blood. The generator sputters. Emergency lights flicker to life, red and sickly. Luna is sitting upright. Her eyes are open, pupils dilated until the irises vanish. When she speaks, her voice carries through the air like vibration through water. "Dad?" Every instinct screams to run, but I don't. I can't. Her lips tremble. "It's awake now." "What is?" "The seed. It needed a host. It chose you." I stagger backward until my spine hits the counter. "Luna, listen to me." She steps forward. Her skin ripples faintly with movement beneath, threads weaving up toward her neck. "It's not evil," she says softly. "It's evolution." Mara grabs the defibrillator paddles from the counter. "Stay back." Luna tilts her head, eyes full of pity. "You still think it's alive?" Then she opens her mouth again, wide, impossibly wide, and light pours out, brilliant and blinding. The hum becomes a roar. The safe behind us bursts open. From within, dozens of silver larvae rise in a column of mist, spiraling upward like smoke. They move as one body, one mind, circling Luna's light. For a second, everything vibrates, walls, air, blood. Then silence. The light fades. Luna's gone. The larvae too. Only the open safe remains, empty but echoing, as if something vast had just exhaled. Mara collapses beside me, sobbing. "Is it over?" I want to say yes. I almost do. But inside my skull, the hum hasn't stopped. It's softer now, like a lullaby. And then, from deep inside my jaw, I feel it, a faint pressure against the bone, pushing upward. I reach into my mouth. My fingertip touches metal. Something circular. Something new. A tooth? No. A crown. Smooth, cold, seamless. Luna's voice drifts through the hum, calm and distant. "Every kingdom begins with one heir." The emergency lights flicker once more, then die completely. In the dark, I smile, and the sound that escapes isn't laughter. It's the click of enamel against enamel. The birth of something ancient, wearing my face.